I find interesting videos, short video stuff, and I send it to the players, but I send it through the parent group, and I ask the parents to have the kids watch it. And for the most part, they do. And just, with no commentary, it's just really, really great plays. And that passing one I sent a few days ago, I'll see if I can find that clip and send it to you. Kids are visual; they all their time on their phones, and if you send them something really short, and then talk about it in the locker room, I think that's an effective way of keeping them engaged, and another way to communicate the message you're trying to get to them. So that's it. I got to run here pretty quick, but you guys are so awesome. This is so fun. I love it.
Listen, I want to ask everybody, Al in particular, have you used video with your kids? If so, how?
Yeah, we do an hour video session every Thursday before practice. So I've got a few videos where it's actually Brad McKenzie, Wally. There's some videos that I had taken from a course that I did with him a couple of years ago. So it's good stuff. A lot like, when there's a couple that we've watched a few times and kind of gone back to them. There's a really good one on Headman and the Puck, and there's a really good one on O-zone play and D-zone play and whatever the topic is that week. And so we'll do maybe 5 minutes where it's kind of like an instructional type video, and then I usually try to pull out one or two of their own clips. Always the positive stuff. We don't really look at the negative stuff too much, at least not in the video at this age, because I want to we've been really focusing on the positives. What we do well, not focusing on the things that didn't go right. Not ignoring them, and then we just kind of watch highlights. Like we'll throw on a Sidney Crosby highlight or something and just watch and let the kids talk about what's going on. Like they like that. They get really excited. They love the video sessions. So, but it's how it's done. Like I don't think if you have a group of 11-year-olds, I don't think you'd want to be sitting there picking it apart. You know what I mean? Like
No.
I wouldn't want to highlight a mistake, because again, the whole thing was we're trying to get them to be afraid to not be afraid to make a play. Right, so you don't want to be showing his mistake if he made a mistake and screwed up, right? So let's show the good stuff and hopefully encourage more good stuff.
We showed our team on Monday afternoon the third period of one of the better games that we played, but we split them into 3 groups, and we asked them to count how many attempted passes, how many completed passes, and how many shots there were from in front, from the scoring, from in the house. And that was actually, it made me very sympathetic for their teachers at school, because it lasted about 45 minutes. It was awful long. But we ended up losing that game in the last 12 seconds of the game. And so we didn't have much commentary on it, though. We just let them watch it in their groups and then count. And then we had each group had a team captain that came up, and we wrote on the board what their totals were. And they were a little bit different with each group, just depending on how much they were paying attention. But then we had a conversation at the end on one of the things they noticed was that over 50% of the passes attempted don't connect. And so again, it's a way of involving them and seeing what's happening, what the coaches are seeing. And they really liked it, and so we'll probably do some more video work with them, just to sit and watch some things. And but it is an effort for us to do it. We have to get somebody to come and run it, and we got to reserve the room and do all that kind of stuff. And so, anyways, I'm glad you brought that up, Al. That's really cool that you're doing that.
Yeah, it's fun, and we're fortunate. We've got a conference room at the rink that's got a rubber floor, so the kids can actually get ready in there, too, while we're waiting for practice and stuff. But a lot of them don't watch a lot of hockey, right? Like the kids, they watch YouTube. They don't watch a lot of, they don't sit down and watch a whole hockey game. So it's things like, if we throw on some highlights, some Crosby highlights or whatever, just to have them watch it and pick out, like, stop the video and say, all right, what do you see? I saw an attack triangle, or I saw he went to a hot spot or pass across the Royal Road or whatever it is, and have them pick it out. And we put out a challenge to them last week. I'm interested to see now. Today's Thursday, to see whether they actually did it, to watch a game and to try and guess one play ahead who's going to get the puck next, and to see if they could do that while they watch the game, kind of thing. I asked if anybody had ever tried to do that, and they hadn't. So we'll see if they did that this week. You're on mute, Wally.
Backing up the camera a bit. I got this idea about counting passes, and hell, you brought it up. You said they looked at video and counting passes and sort of awareness of the pass and its importance. And watching a U18 Hockey Canada camp, sitting beside a scout who coached his son in soccer and a minor hockey team. His soccer coach had a umpire's counter and kept track of completed passes.
Yep.
That number alone, they passed well. And he took it back to his hockey team. I think it was the U13 team. And that's all they did. They had a conscious raw count, total count of how many passes they completed. And they became aware of that number. And it paid off, because by Christmas, he was being approached by other coaches saying, "What are you doing? You're playing like the Russians at U13."
Yep.
So the awareness, the counting of the stat is a stage, valuing the pass. And now you mentioned the pass isn't the problem. The receiver is not supporting with timing and making themselves available, so that awareness, connectivity, and movement, support and timing is the key. Targeting with one hand, being able to catch it. So go ahead, Hal, you have your hand up.
Well, I agree with you, Wally. What we do is I have an individual that keeps track by player how many completed passes a player makes. And in the game that we lost the other night, it was interesting that three of our forwards never had a completed forward pass. And then it's interesting to see who is doing it. Defensemen are pretty much better. The higher skilled kids are better. But then I got to thinking, well, yeah, but completion it takes two people to complete a pass. And so we got that from Tom, actually, and how to, because Tom's been doing this with his teams. He has somebody keeping track up in the stands. And then I have an assistant coach that's got a clicker too. So some nights I have him do it. And I might have him start doing passes that aren't successful. We don't share that with the kids particularly. We don't point to one kid and say you didn't complete a pass. We just talk about how important, and we do it by period. And it's interesting that if you get 25 to 35 passes a period, you're going to have a pretty good outcome in that game. But when it gets down into the low 20s or into the teens, you're struggling. For some reason, you're struggling. So again, it's just awareness for the players. And we do 3-on-3 cross ice. Well, it could be 1-on-1, 2-on-2. It evolves, and we keep score. And the losing team gets, they get a little extra skating at the end, and the kids love it. And then I told them, now we're going to do, instead of scoring goals, we're going to keep track by team how many completed passes they make to a teammate, because we're trying to get them close enough to each other so they can make these passes. So this drill for me is more about the guys away from the puck, not the guy with the puck. And, this is a work in progress for sure. But they're getting better and better at it. We just change the game a little bit, change the incentives a little bit. And boy, do they love to compete though for this stuff. It's, who won, who lost, they scream and yell if they don't think it's fair. It's all that good stuff. So I got to run, boys. It's fun.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week, I hope. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
I'll send some video.
Okay. I want to share a story about Europeans. After a practice at the pro level, they play a game of 3 versus 3 or however many, where you have to score only off a pass. You can't score carrying it and shooting it and winning one-on-one. That is a ritual for them. So in Europe, they prize the pass. And when we used to play against them, the goaltender, he didn't overplay the shooter. He had to stay on his feet to be able to move laterally. But that game told me the Europeans prize the pass. They value it more than the goal. And they played it. Last spring, I tried this with U13 group. They couldn't do it. And so I went back to 2-on-2. You got to make 2 passes before you can score. And because there's only 2, it's give and go and get open. That worked. So I learned experimenting with this, got to score off a pass only. Didn't work at U13, but 2 versus 2 have to do 2 passes. Well, there's only 2 of you. It's obvious who's got to get open. You throw a third person in there, they just can't visualize the third person. So there are progressive teaching progressions done by Finnish coaches that Tom has worked with that teach you can pass to the third man only. So if I get it from you, I can't pass it back to you. I've got to pass to the third man. That rule, 3 versus 3, cross-ice scrimmage, and only the third man can score. It's a little bit advanced, but when we're talking about passing, I think we've covered most of the bases for any coach out there. I think the art of what you guys are doing at your age level, and Peter, you're dealing in a less competitive level, I think, than Al would be. But it's all about the right stuff, the right amount, the right time. What do you do? When do you do it? And of course, the right way. So Al, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, Wally, can you restate that? So what was that drill? The third man? So just a regular 3-on-3, but you can't pass it back to the same kid you got it from?
Yeah, well, it's not. That's the third stage of an advanced drill. I'll give you the 3 stages. First stage is 3 versus 3 keep away.
Okay.
You have to do a tight turn only. That's the first thing before you pass. Then you got to skate backwards before you pass, which opens up the ice. And the next rule is you can only pass to the third man. When you get it, you can't pass it back. So the third player has to get open. So it's a keep away game. It isn't a scrimmage game. The scrimmage game, which would complement it, is you can only score off a pass. You can't score on a breakaway. The puck has to be scored on a quick one-timer or a reception shot. End of story. But the progression to passing, create time and space so you can pass and the player can get open with a tight turn. Create time and space, skating backwards with the puck to open the ice up. And then when you keep away, you can only pass to the third player. So when you've got it, the third player is getting open and you're thinking of where is the third player going. You're thinking ahead. Does that make sense, Al?
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a progression I got from the Finns. There's another one I may as well share now for the listeners that I'm sure everybody else has heard. This came from Johanni Walson, Tom's good friend who's passed away, been inducted into the IHF and the Finnish Hall of Fame. I walked into the rink 45, 50 years ago. Tom was on the ice with a bunch of coaches. Johanni was running the clinic. And I watched his 3 drill progression on passing and timing. And I've got it and I've sent it out a number of times. But for the listeners, if you want to visualize this, part 1 is 5 or 6 players passing one puck on a circle, stationary. And you throw in a second puck and a third puck with no instruction. And obviously, what happens is 2 pucks go to one person. Teaching moment. Stop them. Only pass to the person you have eye contact with that does not have a puck, who's available. That's the first thing. Eye contact. Are they free? Are they aware? Do they see each other? Next stage is give and go. Players are lined up on the boards at a blue line with pucks. And it's a pass to the coach in the corner and get a pass back from the coach and shoot. Now, Al, the teaching point is the coach in the corner keeps his head down, might turn his back. The player up top, who normally just beelines it for the net, runs out of space. He has to learn to save ice until eye contact before he moves in to receive the pass. And eventually you put a player in the corner. So it's give and go with the player, but the player also keeps their head down. So they learn to connect. And that's the simple progression, which eye contact, where are you going? Where's the free space? So I think everything we've talked about today pretty well covers the gamut of thinking at the highest level. And Daryl Belfry mentioned when he had the very best players, Crosby, Matthews, on the ice against other players that weren't quite as smart and adept, they didn't pass to sticks. They passed to space where the players were going to go. And that's the stage that I think is sort of the ultimate idea of passing, area passing, because making direct passes all the time, tape to tape, aren't really possible at highly competitive levels. It's the first step, but beyond that, it's passing to free space that they can skate into. So now we're talking the very best at the highest levels. So are your kids close to that? Al? I thought they did that in a couple of the goal scoring clips. One kid threw it across.
Yeah, we see that every now and again. We'll see that, but more often they're trying to make the pass to the player. I think a lot of it goes back. I think it all kind of feeds together, Wally. Like, again, we still do skill work, right? We still do a lot, but we're not doing a lot of the stand in line kind of static skill work. Like I said, we do a lot of the keep away.
Yeah.
So the stuff that you're talking about making the tight turn and then making the pass, or skating backwards and beating the guy and then making the pass, I think that type of thing by playing 10 minutes of keep away at the start of practice, you get a lot of that. You know, like we're really good at the first pass on the breakout. The D are really good at collecting the puck and escaping pressure and making a pass. But I think the reason why they're able to do that is because of the keep away. You know, it's the moves that they develop there and being able to do stuff with the puck under pressure, and then it's the pass and drills that we've layered on top of that. I think that's really important. I mean, it seems to be anyway. Like I don't know. I don't know the answer. That's why I'm coming on here. So,
Al, the point you made, like, I didn't think of it. Obviously, keep away is evasive skating. Keep it away, get away, create space and time. Evasive tight turns. And I've been teaching that deliberately, but I haven't played keep away. So the next time I do a U13 ice time, and I've taken over doing in half ice, tactical skating like evasive tight turns for the sake of breakout support and timing, I'm going to play keep away now.
I think it's a real underutilized thing, Wally. Like if you sit back and you watch the 10 minutes to keep away and you watch all the different things that come out, and sorry, at work here, I got a meeting. But you watch like all those tactical things, right? Like you're talking about escape turns and stuff like that, right? Like the amount of times that those come up when you play 10 minutes to keep away it's crazy. I'll take a video of it. We could practice tonight, Wally. I'll take a video and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But a lot of the things that you see in that video are stuff that, like the first move that they make before they make the pass, a lot of it is stuff that we would do in that first 10 minutes of practice. And everybody's going, right? So it's not like you're taking turns. It's not like you get 2 chances or 3 chances in the 10-minute drill. You know, everybody's doing it constant. And they got to keep their head up because they're all in the same space. You know, you got 16 players skating around the zone. And when we've tried it, so I got a bunch of new kids this year because we combined kind of 2 teams into one. And the first couple of times that we did it, there was a lot of collisions, which, you know, I mean, that's not good, especially with the parents standing there watching, you know, but they're still young enough where they bounce up pretty quick or whatever. But now, like, I couldn't tell you the last time 2 kids collided doing that, and they're going hard.
So it's 1 versus 1 keep away, but they can go wherever they want in the end zone or half ice. Is that
End
right?
zone, yep, end zone, and everybody going at the same time. You pick a partner, 2 partners, 1 puck.
Yeah.
Keep away, and after 45 seconds, 60 seconds, they blow the whistle, and they've got like 20 seconds to find a new partner, because you don't want the same kids going with the same kids over and over again, right? So this allows the stronger kids to go with maybe another stronger kid or a weaker kid, or you know, everybody kind of gets to do different things, and it also gives them that little break there to, you know, to catch their breath, and you just rotate through it. Every now and again, we'll mix something else in, like they have a tag game that they like. So now instead of two players, 1 puck, it's 2 players and 2 pucks, and they got to tag each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do it 10 minutes every single practice.
Well, thanks. I picked that up. I'm going to try to get coaches to try it. Tom, when's your next practice? Are you going to give it a whirl?
I did it 2 practices ago.
I'm sure you did.
I broke the ice into, because the goalie was working, you know, so we broke the ice into 3 zones, I think it was, and they played 2-on-2 keep away in each little area.
Yeah.
Just and then you get 1 point for making 5 passes in a row.
Yeah. Now, do you do 1-on-1 keep away or 2-on-2 keep away, Al? Does it matter?
For that game, that's just the warm up is just 1-on-1. Because the way I look at it is, like, we're breaking it down into roles. That's our